Hello and welcome to Talk Ag to Me, the podcast dedicated to improving ag literacy around the globe. I'm your host, Brandon Black, and today's episode is going to be dedicated to the World Ag Expo, the largest exposition of agriculture in the entire world. And here to talk about this topic with me, I have Jennifer Fawkes, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself here.
Thank you. Hey, I'm Jennifer. I'm the marketing manager at the International Agri Center and World Ag Expo. So I get to work on things like our advertising, work with our sales team, and deal with media. So thank you for coming in today and doing a podcast.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, thank you for having me here. So kind of what I wanted to get as far as this episode goes is just kind of like a look back into what the World Ag Expo really is, where it came from, how far it's come, and if you can give us a little bit of information about what's going to be going on in this year's World Ag Expo, because it's coming up in a couple weeks here, so that'd be great. So.
Okay. All right, well, some history. So the Tulare show started in 1968. That was the very first show, but it actually the process started a couple years before that. There were some local business people and farmers that went up to the Calusa show here in California, and they're about a week before when our show is now, and they're still going strong. They went up and they said, God, this is a nice show. We could do this. And so they came back and worked for 2 years with the chamber and interested business people, lots of volunteers, and there's a number that are still volunteering today, which is awesome. It's a dedicated group. And just said we could do this, and they started as a field and row crop show.
Okay.
And started it at the Tulare Fairgrounds. It got the nickname of the Mud Bowl sometimes because it was often rainy and muddy, but the team had actually planned it that way. They looked at the Farmer's Almanac and said, when is the rainiest time that we can get farmers out of the field and then get them to have time to come and look at new innovations and what's going to help them next? So that was really the start. It went through a couple of name changes. In 1982, we actually moved out here to the current showgrounds, and the International Agri Center 501c3 was created, and then kept going and growing. And in 2001, because it had become such a bigger show with more international influence, it was renamed to the World Ag Expo, and that's how we've been known since.
Awesome. So you said that it started at the Tulare Fairgrounds, and that it was kind of just a way of getting farmers out of the field and looking at the new equipment, the new technology, and that kind of stuff. When did it start attracting the attention of people from outside Tulare and even outside of California and the United States?
Honestly, really reading through the history, pretty much right away. There were people that were interested pretty soon, and that's why they had a 2-year run-up to the first show, is really getting that promotion out and encouraging folks to come. But as it kept growing and just becoming very responsive to the needs of exhibitors and attendees, it just kept growing and became a great place to come and attracted people not only from all over the country but all over the world. Yeah. And so it's fun to look back at in our museum. Actually, we have clippings from newspapers. I've run through a couple of those, and it's interesting to see the progression and the quotes and just the interest from everywhere. Yeah, no,
it's really cool to see all the different countries that come to this thing. I was talking to a guy from Sweden a couple of years ago about Swedish agriculture, and I had Australian exchange students, and they were like, this is the place where the World Ag Expo goes on. I was like, you know about the World Ag Expo? Like, everyone knows about the World Ag Expo. So, yeah, it's kind of just cool to see all that happen.
It really is. I went on I went to the National Agri Marketing Association boot camp in Kansas City this summer, and I had my tag on, and it said International Agri Center, which people don't recognize that as much as World Ag Expo, but it said Tulare. And so the farmer said, oh my gosh, that's where that show is. I have always wanted to go to that show. Have you ever been? And I said, actually, I work there. That's what this is. But please come. We'd love to have you. And it's just nice to hear that and hear good things.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you said that it started out as more of like an equipment base, and it was a row crop based show. It's kind of, I mean, for the most part, there's still a lot of equipment there, but it's kind of expanded a little bit since then. Can you kind of talk about what's, what how that progression has really advanced, and how they added new technology and like the presenters they have and that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. It's really grown out of what's going on in agriculture and the changes. And we know, living in this area, the focus was there used to be a lot more cotton in the field, a lot more row crops in that way, but we've been progressing to more trees, whether it's nuts or fruit or different things. Dairy is still very strong here, but has changed over the last 10 years. So the show really does respond to that as well, and to new technology coming in and hopefully always making the process easier, more profitable. We know there's some labor shortage questions always going around, so unfortunately decreasing the number of people you need to employ if you look at that from an employment standpoint, but making it more realistic for a farmer to continue to do business is really what the show's about.
Gotcha.
And so as the industry has expanded, the show has expanded. And so every time there's something new or an opportunity to have a seminar, this year I actually just got off the phone with a group that is going to come and do hemp seminars.
Okay, cool.
Because hemp is now back in the Farm Bill, and hemp, not the cannabis or the THC piece,
right.
Industrial hemp is back as a commodity, and people are interested. How can this add to my farm, add to my portfolio?
Right. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because I've seen, a couple of the seminars every year, and they're always so, there's so many people at them. Yeah. With everything going on the farm show, it's kind of interesting to see everyone just kind of sit down and listen to somebody talk about, whatever. And I saw, they have one on women in agriculture going on this year. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
That's actually an episode I'm hoping to do pretty soon. So
Absolutely.
Take some notes from that one. But, there's just a lot of just stuff going on everywhere. It's almost overwhelming to somebody who's never been to it. They walk in there, there's just ag.
It's 2.6 million square feet.
Yeah, it's insane.
And that doesn't count the roads on the grounds, right?
Right.
There's so much. And there's people that we have had people come from non-ag areas and show up in heels and cream suits and go, wait, this is outside? And it's well, yeah, we're pretty clear about it with our pictures, but it is fun to see people come and just go, hold on a second.
Yeah.
And try to find a seminar or get to an irrigation area and exhibitor they want to. We have so many great exhibitors. It's hard to see them all.
Yeah.
And even I feel like this is gonna be my third show since I've come back. And I feel like I haven't really gotten to see our show yet because it's just really trying to get media done and help exhibitors. Right. This year I might really have a chance to sit in on a seminar that it would be good for me. Yeah. So. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool. I remember my first time ever going to the World. Well, I went obviously when I was little, but I don't remember much of it. But I went my freshman year of high school. I was I was volunteering with FFA, and just seeing all the planes, they're landing, and all the people coming from from all over the place, and just the immense traffic. The parking lot is comparable to I don't know. It's ridiculous. Disneyland, right?
It's crazy.
It is crazy, and just looking at our numbers the last couple of years. So specifically last year, our count was at 106,700 attendees over 3 days. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a good sized city for 3 days out here, and 49 states and 63 countries.
Wow.
And we're always in that 60 to 70 country range. It's amazing the international opportunities that are here this year for the second year. The Italian Trade Agency will have a pavilion, and they have about 12 Italian companies that are coming. They want to do business.
That's crazy.
In ag and in this country, and they've been great to work with. So it's a lot of fun to see what other countries bring to the table,
right?
How they do something a little different that might solve a problem here, and
right.
What might solve something in America that might solve a problem for them. And seeing those interactions, it's really interesting. It's really fun.
Yeah, no, that's a lot. That's pretty cool. What I find really interesting about it, going back to the foreign, talking to people from other countries kind of thing, is really cool to hear because, growing up in Tulare, California, you always hear that, we're the breadbasket of the world. We grow everything. But you don't really appreciate it until someone comes from, Germany and says, you guys grow everything. And it's just really? You guys, you know who we are? And they're everyone knows about California and what you guys do for agriculture. And it's just it's kind of cool to hear other countries, just talk about how great you are.
Right,
not from a conceited standpoint, but just to hear, because sure, it's in our backyard, but we're used to it, so we don't think it's that cool until other people come over and no, this is really cool.
It is.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And going back to your Disney comparison to the parking lot, I think that the World Ag Expo itself is a lot like Disneyland. You can't get it all done in one day.
No.
There's no possible way to go see every vendor and to go do everything that's offered. You have to sacrifice, you have to try almost make a list of, okay, I want to hit this, and this before I hit anything else. And you
Absolutely.
have to go get that done.
And that is definitely true. I saw there was a quote in a story where somebody who's been here said, it's like the Disneyland of agriculture.
It really is.
I appreciate that. That's fantastic. I don't know if Disneyland will let us say that, but officially. But it's really a big compliment. But to your point about plan your visit,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, please plan your visit because there's so much. And you can actually do that in our app and on our website. So people go in and register. They can actually start saving the things they want to see so they can check it off and have a checklist for booths and for seminar sessions and anything that's going on. So I've started my list because I know the folks that I've talked to throughout the year that I want to actually meet in person for the first time, and I want to see how their booth looks, and I want to sit in on, there's a couple of marketing seminars out there about how, one of them in particular, how to deal with a crisis on your farm if the media shows up.
Right.
That's
a big issue right now.
Yeah, and not every farmer or business person is trained in media, and so that's when I just want to make sure we're always doing the right thing or doing the best we can.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good seminar because
Absolutely.
with everything going on right now with, everyone's a journalist now.
Right.
They have a smartphone. They can walk out there
Everybody's a camera, yeah.
They can do whatever they want. I mean, I have one of my dad's best friends, his dairy, one of his workers, like nieces or something like that, she had to do a project for her college, and so they asked him if they could come in and film on his dairy, and he was basically like sitting there from his window the whole time, just like, don't touch anything, don't put anything bad. And he had to go tell his workers, you can't touch the cows, you can't even whistle at them, like, you treat those things like they're children, like, you cannot do anything to them, because, like, it just takes the littlest misunderstanding of what's going on, and the entire farm gets shut down.
Exactly, and that is a true and unfortunate thing, because my sister and brother-in-law live in Iowa. We grew up here, but we had family in Iowa, and she met a farmer. And decided that's where she wanted to be. And so they've got cattle on site, they've got hogs, and he treats those animals like they're his kids. It's amazing, and that would be the fear, that someone who doesn't handle animals doesn't understand what goes into it every day, and that it's really important to keep them calm and keep them happy and be comfortable. He's stressing right now with the polar vortex. He's got cows outside.
I could imagine.
And these cows are nice and shaggy. They've got a coat, but it's a polar vortex.
Yeah, there's only so much they can take.
Right.
That's a big issue, which is another thing I like about the World Ag Expo is that, it gives people a really good view of what's going on in agriculture. Even if they don't understand completely, that's a really good place for them to learn. You have people everywhere talking about what they do and why they do it. You have new technology coming out that's supposed to make jobs easier and more efficient, and there's always going to be people that are against them, but it's a really good place if you don't know if you don't know what's going on and you want to learn. That's where you go to learn.
Absolutely.
I think it's one of the best
learn
places.
From the source.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's a big deal. This year we're definitely in the off season for World Ag Expo is the on season for lots of events out here at the Agri Center. We have started doing equestrian events. Okay. So equestrian folks can run our grounds, and we have an arena inside Farm Credit Dairy Center that we'll put back up after the show. But we added a tent, so that way horses are not penned up out in the sun all summer, Right. And so that meant, wow, we got to use it for World Ag Expo. What is this opportunity?
Yeah.
And so we just finished the final, hemp is going to be the final folks that are coming in and filling in the schedule. But we do have livestock dogs that will be doing demonstrations all 3 days of the show. Yeah, so 3 different seminar and demonstrations a day. So if you like dogs and you like seeing how dogs can work with livestock, we will have, I believe it's either goats or sheep that they will be herding. The east end of the grounds in the new pavilion. Well, that's also where we'll have a nice setup of our antique tractors promoting our antique farm equipment show that happens in April. So there's lots of fun stuff to see, and it's a little bit of everything, because farmers and farm life is a little bit of everything.
Right.
And we do want to serve as much of the family as we can and still meet our core mission of educating and being a platform for business at World Ag Expo.
Yeah, well, I was just talking to Chris yesterday about that. It doesn't matter if you're an expert in your field in agriculture, there's always something else to learn.
Absolutely.
You could be the best citrus farmer in the world and not know anything about dairy.
Right.
Or you can be the best, beef farmer in the world and not even know what a soybean looks like.
Absolutely.
It's just a matter of, it's important for all the farmers to not only educate the public about what they're doing, but to kind of learn from other farmers what each other's doing. That way they can kind of, be ready for that.
Absolutely.
Because, what's kind of sad about it is, you have, especially with the people who don't really know what's going on, they'll go ask a dairy farmer what's going on a beef ranch. Dairy farmer's like, I don't know, it's not a beef ranch. We're a dairy farm. We do something different.
Yeah, a cow's not just all the same cow.
Right.
Yeah, and that is funny. I grew up in this area. I worked in the office of like a fruit packing plant, so I know sometimes some of the things that go on when you're running a fruit packing plant. But I was helping my nephew with chores in the Midwest, and a calf got out. So I got to learn how to help corral a calf. And so you just... Sometimes you get to learn on the job. But it's good exposure, and it's that thing of I wish more people had the chance to go out and see how hard, farmers work, that they how much they care, and what they're doing to contribute and really be the source of a safe, reliable food system, not just for our country, but for the world.
Oh, and absolutely.
It's a real big deal.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I think a large part of because when you're a middle schooler or high schooler and you're going to the World Ag Expo, you're going for all the free stuff.
Sure.
You're going picking up stuff, and you're going to go look at the big tractors, and you just want to mess around with your friends. But, for those of them who are actually listening to what's being told to them, if they even take away a little bit of what the vendors are selling there, then that's that's already a step closer we are to having those kids actually being educated in agriculture. And I think that's a pretty important part of it too. A good portion of the World Ag Expo is based around new technology and new equipment that's supposed to be implemented in agriculture. But I think not necessarily a bigger portion, but probably an equal portion is educating the public about what's going on in agriculture, because like we said, there's a lot of people that don't know that it's in their backyard, and they still don't know what it is.
Absolutely. And not just agriculture itself, but careers in agriculture. And you mentioned earlier about we're having it's a career-focused event. It's called Grow by Farm Her, and it is focused for young women. But of course, if young men want to also go and learn from some great speakers about how they can grow a career in agriculture, it's a great opportunity, and I think there's a few seats left. But that Grow by Farm Her, it's the first time we've had them here, and Farm Her has their own television series on RFD TV that focuses on women in ag and really telling the stories of agriculture, what goes on in production, and what are people doing to contribute. And so we're excited to have them here as first-time exhibitors and doing a conference
that's awesome.
On Wednesday. So there's some good stuff going on, and we do want people to find out about careers that really could be open to them in ag.
Right. Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that's a really cool opportunity for a lot of people to learn about what's going on. So I think we kind of pretty good establishment on what the farm show is and where it's come from. Can you give us any information on what's going to be going on with this farm show in particular?
Sure.
You talked a little bit about the Farm Her and some of the seminars going on. Can you talk a little bit about what can we expect from this year's farm show?
So this year our theme is harvesting technology, and there really is just so much happening in that area. The big headline is at our opening ceremonies we will have the president of American Farm Bureau, Zippy Duvall, will be here, and he will speak for a little bit. We will also have the NASA administrator, Jim Bridenstine, here, and he will speak a little bit at opening ceremonies. And then we're working on the final details of a press conference immediately following the opening ceremonies at about 9:30 in the banquet hall that will be addressing what's going on in ag tech, how NASA is involved, and what farmers are adopting. Both gentlemen will be sharing and really letting people know, media, folks that might want to come on in and give a listen, find out something new about what's happening and what the future might be. And so we're excited about that. It really is. It's a great opportunity that NASA is going to be here. We have a writer from NASA that is coming out. She had already planned to come. She's going to be interviewing exhibitors that consulted with NASA or use NASA tech to develop their products. And
that's pretty cool.
And that is something that some people outside of ag, more urban settings, may not really
with.
They may not really understand how much tech is being adopted into agriculture and really helps. And it's not just GMOs, which is also really important and important for a good, strong food supply.
Right.
But also really important to be more efficient and to really use land better. We're always looking to use water and land more wisely.
Right.
Farmers need it for generations. And so anything that can help, sustain their profitability, their land, everything they do is really important.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I'm working on an episode right now with one of my teachers on new irrigation methods and technologies coming out, because that's going to be a huge, contributor to what's going to be going on with the whole water issue and stuff. So I'm really excited to see what they have there as far as that goes as well. But yeah, I to go back to your point about it's something that the consumer doesn't really understand about what's going on as far as new ag technologies coming out. I mean, I didn't know that NASA was helping out the farmers now. That's news to me.
Yeah,
but,
we're talking about some satellite information that some local water districts and water authorities are using too. I mean,
that's pretty cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, so. No, I mean, because like your average consumer, your average, just public person in general is going to look at, when you tell them to think of a farmer, they're going to think of somebody in overalls with a pitchfork and the straw hat, and they're going to be going out milking one cow with one pail.
Right,
I mean,
and
they have such a lack of understanding of what agriculture is now compared to what it used to be. And I think that part of it is because, like, when we're all kids, I mean, we're taught what a farmer is because of, or
Old
like
McDonald or some very stereotypical stuff.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's good that as they grow, they need to learn what is actually going on.
Absolutely, and just like everything else, as a history major, you don't learn all the details of some history when you're in second grade.
Right.
But as you go along, you learn more details. There's depth there, and that's the thing that. Yeah, that's the story that needs to be told.
Yeah,
about agriculture today.
Well, it's funny you mentioned history. What I always learned when I was going through history is there's an interesting amount of agriculture involved in history as it goes along. So, like, if you're learning history, you might as well learn ag too, because they go hand in hand.
They do.
I mean, like, if you learn about a majority of older presidents were farmers, and I mean, like a lot of wars were affected by agriculture or affected agriculture in one way or another, and like there's so much agriculture and history that flip flop each other. Yep. Like if you're gonna learn one, you have to learn the other, because if you don't, you're doing yourself a disservice.
Absolutely.
So yeah, no, I think that's a really good point as far as the new technology coming out. I'm excited to see what people actually take from it, because people see technology now in agriculture and they think that it's just a big old factory farm company controlling everything, and it's not. That's a family farm. They just have a robot milker because it's cheaper than having an employee that will do the same job. I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's if a farm is a corporation, a lot of times it's really more for tax and accounting purposes.
Right, exactly.
And to protect some assets.
Yeah, they're not
for the
giant,
family.
capitalist corporate, like evil,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that is also an unfortunate stereotype. And go talk to a farmer. They're a business person that's also their own accountant sometimes. I mean, they're doing everything. They're the mechanic.
Yeah.
So farmers really are kind of that utility middle infielder that needs to know a little bit of everything and do it pretty well, because they've got to keep everything running. And it's an amazing skill set.
Yeah, no, well, it's kind of funny you say that they're their own mechanic and their own, because I was just at Cal Poly over this past weekend at an Ag Ambassadors Conference, an episode that I actually just posted yesterday.
Yeah.
Or was today, Friday? On Wednesday I posted that episode. And the keynote speaker we were talking to, he was saying, agriculture is not rocket science. It's a lot more complicated.
That is true. It is.
Yeah, because he was saying, a farmer's got to be able to, to predict the weather, predict what the soil composition is going to be like, predict legislature, to, be able to be the ultimate biologist, environmentalist, and, mechanic, and they have to be able to do all this stuff and still run a farm. From a financial standpoint. And so it's just like insane that all the things they have to juggle just to keep everything right. Like they have to be able to predict, okay, we need to plant this crop at this time so that way it doesn't die, because there's going to be frost at this time of year possibly, so we can't risk that. And so it's just I've always been a firm believer in the idea that farmers are the ultimate biologists, the ultimate environmentalists, the ultimate mechanics. They understand everything a lot better than a lot of the actual scientists who are studying it, because they have to. It's their livelihood. And I think that's something a lot of people don't really understand about agriculture, something I wish they would really know. I mean, because that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, and it's always interesting, and that's why when I get a chance to go visit my sister and her family, I like being on the farm. It helps broaden my horizons for work too, and doing this and relating to folks, because it's a lot, and it doesn't stop especially when you have animals.
Right. No, exactly.
It's all the time, and the way you organize your life kind of revolves around those animals. You've chosen to take care of a living being, so you better do it well.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah, so it's interesting, but this year at the show too, you'll see definitely our top 10 new products is always popular. There's some irrigation tech. There is some dairy tech with some genomic testing.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
From Sumex, and lots of different things that they have to offer. And we had a big field this year. There was about 73 exhibitors that entered a product. Wow. And they were all really impressive, and our judges had quite the time narrowing it down to 10.
I could imagine.
Yeah. But some things like Gus will be back again this year.
Okay.
The Global Unmanned Spray System. So
Wow.
they'll be on the East End in the Ride Drive with their product. I hear they're taking pre-orders.
Oh, cool.
So they've definitely done a lot of work there. But so many great exhibitors. They all have something new. That is the fun thing about the show. Every year, everyone will ask, what's the new big thing? What's the new big change?
Yeah.
And really, a lot of times, you've got to refer them back to the exhibitors.
Mm-hmm.
They all have a new story to tell.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy. You know, every year they have new stuff to bring out. It's like, how are you guys doing that? It's so fast.
It is, and it's impressive, and it's interesting, and it's just so much fun. I know that places like AGCO, they're going to come back with some more interactive activities at their space this year. Last year they had the backhoe challenge.
Oh, wow.
They're bringing that back with maybe a little twist, and they will have a little bit of a closed course, a little driving, digging opportunity with some new products they have. And there will be prizes too, is what I hear from them. So
that's exciting.
Yeah. But New Holland has new technology that they're going to be sharing. Case is doing some launching, I think, with a new cab. I mean, John Deere is going to be here. It's just amazing the number of folks that we have, that from the big manufacturers to some of our exhibitors that are tech, and might be one or two guys here, but they might have the next best
Big
thing
yeah,
that you have to have on your farm.
That's
so
awesome.
it's always exciting.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's great. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
What would you say is what are you most excited for out of this year's farm show?
Oh man, I always get to deal with the media, so there's some fun things that sometimes you get to know ahead of time, but also just sharing that story and helping them find that narrative, that information that educates the public, not just the ag community, but our local TV and radio stations and writers from all over the world sometimes.
Yeah.
Just taking that story back so folks understand more about what we're doing is so much fun, and seeing it afterwards and seeing the comments. But really, the biggest thing for me is this next week when the bulk of exhibitors are moving in, seeing people you haven't seen in a year, seeing them set up and get ready, and getting to talk about what they're excited about, and then seeing them at the show, and that coming true. Like all their hopes and dreams, the work they've done all year. And for us too as a staff, and all of our volunteers, all the orange jackets, all the work we've all put in all year actually happening, and people enjoying it and showing up and eating all the steak sandwiches and all the breakfast burritos. It's an amazing 3 days, and it's kind of sad it's over so quickly.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad when it's over, because we all need a really big nap. So
yeah,
it's exciting to see it happen.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's awesome. There's so many people I know. They're just every year they can't wait for the farm show to come around. It's like instead that's their vacation is the farm show. They don't go to the beach or they don't go to Disneyland. They go to the World Ag Expo. It's it's awesome. It's
amazing too. Not just people that take vacation to come to the show, but our volunteers who take vacation to work at the show.
Right.
Folks enjoy it so much that they are dedicated to taking time off to come and help attendees and exhibitors, whether it's driving a forklift or manning an info booth or anything that they do to contribute. It's pretty cool to see. It's really and definitely appreciated.
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome. Yeah. So, is there anything else you want to add to?
I would just say encourage people to come.
Yeah.
You can buy tickets now online, and if you use the code WAE19, you'll get $3 off.
Awesome.
Each ticket you buy online. But come on out, check it out. Food is by local nonprofits, so when you have lunch here, it's not just supporting, it's not just lunch at the show. It's supporting a local school or a band or a Lions Club.
Right.
Do things for the community all year.
Yeah.
But come on out, learn something new like we talked about, and enjoy the day at the farm show.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think you put it pretty well.
Okay.
So, so I think to thank all of our listeners for tuning in. I'd like to thank Miss Fawkes here for helping me with this interview. I appreciate all of your information and discussion.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, and like you said, they can use WAE 19. Okay, cool.
And just to go to worldagexpo.org, look for the buy tickets link on the left-hand side, and
nice.
Go for it.
Yeah, so you guys have that special discount there. So once again, I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in, and make sure you go to the farm show, and I'll be covering it quite a bit. I understand I'll be walking around with Aggie and interviewing some vendors and stuff, so you guys can check that out here. Well, by the time this episode goes up, it'll be next week.
Yeah, so February 12th through the 14th.
Yeah.
So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, definitely. So make sure you guys check that out, and thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget, if you eat today, thank a farmer.